Hello everyone, welcome back to the session of English. In this session, we are going to continue with our topic adjective. Now this is part 8. Till part 7 we have already done in our earlier session. In this session, we are going to discuss something very special. We are going to learn uses of some important adjectives. In this session, we will discuss difference between little and few. Then we'll learn the difference among little, a little and the little. It means in this session we are going to discuss little and few in brief and then in description in details. So we'll have a complete information about little and few and their uses in a sentence. After that, we'll learn the difference among few, a few and the few. Then we'll learn the difference between much and many, difference between elder and older, difference between further and farther, difference between fewer and less, difference between nearest and next, later and later, latest and last. So we'll discuss the difference among each and every of these words. So let's begin the session. First, we'll discuss the difference between little and few. This I have already told you earlier as well, that we have two types of noun. One is countable noun and another is uncountable noun. Now we know well that countable nouns are the one which can be counted in terms of 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. For example, people, girls, boys, pens, chairs, stars, all these nouns are countable. We can count each and every of these things. But uncountable nouns refer to those nouns which can not be counted but which can be measured. For example, if I talk about milk, now we cannot count milk, but we can measure it in terms of liters or any. We cannot count water, but we can measure it. We cannot count sugar, but we can measure it. So there are several nouns which cannot be counted but which can be measured. Those are uncountable nouns, and countable nouns are the nouns which can be counted in terms of 1, 2, 3 and so on. So whenever we have countable noun, we use few with them. It means few is always used before countable nouns only, whereas little is used only before uncountable nouns. Now from this part, it is clear that whenever we have an adjective few, after that we can only have plural noun and plural form of verb. So we can only have plural noun and plural form of verb after the word few or after the adjective few. Now whenever we have an adjective little, because it shows an uncountable noun, so of course uncountable noun is always considered singular. Therefore, after little we can only have singular noun. Also, we can only have singular form of verb. So it should be followed by singular form of verb always. And with countable nouns, we are using few. Therefore, after few we have plural noun and plural form of verb will follow it. Now let us discuss these words in detail. So first we'll have little, a little and the little. Now what is the difference between, or what is the difference among little, a little and the little? Now little is used for something which is negligible, or you can say equal to nothing. So when something is negligible or it is nothing or equal to nothing, that is little. A little means some. It means when something is there, when you can see some quantity of something, but it is only some. So there is a little, and the little means enough, or it means sufficient of something. Now because we are using it with uncountable nouns only, now let us see some example of it. Suppose there is a man and he is very hungry. He is very, very hungry. It means he's that much hungry that he can eat all the food that he gets. Well, this is just hyperbole. Now there is a man, his name is A, and he's very, very hungry. Now what he does, he went to his home and there he find a bite of chapati in a plate. A bite of chapati in a plate. Will this satisfy his hunger? No, not at all. In fact, this will definitely enhance his hunger. Of course. Just try to be like A. Just try to suppose yourself in place of A. If you are very hungry and you just get a bite of chapati or a single bite of chapati, will it satisfy you? No, never. In fact, it will enhance your hunger. So this bite of chapati plays little for him. It means it is just nothing to equal. It is just equal to nothing for him. Because a bite of chapati will not satisfy his huge hunger. Because he was very, very hungry. Now, he enters another room, where he finds some fruit and salad on the table. So there were some fruit and salad on the table. He ate all that up because obviously it will satisfy him to a particular extent, because some fruit and salad can feel him good, because that will satisfy his hunger for to a little extent. So this is some. Now because his diet is very good and this some fruit and salad will not work entirely, so he asked his wife, and wife gave him food, a full plate of food. Now when he got a full plate of food, which was very delicious, obviously it will be enough for him to satisfy his hunger, or it will be enough for satisfying his hunger. So this plays the little for him. It means he got whatever he wanted. So this is little. This is a little, because it is behaving some for him. Bite of chapati is negligible or equal to nothing. That it was little for him. And when he got the full plate of food, it is the little for him, because it was sufficient. Now, let us see some sentences. There is little water in the vessel. So obviously when there is little water in the vessel, it means it will not quench anyone's thirst, and it is just negligible or equal to nothing. There is a drop of water is actually equal to nothing. There is little oil in the bottle. So if there is little oil in the bottle, obviously I cannot cook, because little, it means not equal to nothing, and that will not work for any kind of vegetable or any kind of dish I want to make. Now let us see another sentence. There is a little oil in the bottle. Now if there is a little oil in the bottle, that will definitely work. It is a positive word. Now little is a negative word, and a little and the little are positive words. So that is a sign of positiveness, that yes, of course, I can actually start cooking, or I can cook with a little oil, or I can make chapati or paratha or anything with that a little oil. Now there is a little water in the vessel. So if there is a little water, of course, it will definitely help us quench our thirst to a little extent. Now let us move to the next one. He gave me the little money he had. Now whatever the money he had, he gave me all. So all that he possessed. So the little means enough or sufficient. Or the little money I wanted. Or the little money, it means entire amount that he had. The little water that was in the pot evaporated. It means whatever the extent of water was there in the pot, that got evaporated. So the little means sufficient or the entire. Raj could not write the essay because there was a little ink. Now if there was a little ink, he could have written. But here he could not write. It means there was no ink, and if there was no ink, it should be little, not a little. So use of a little is incorrect over here. It should be replaced with little, because if there had been a little ink, he could have written the essay, or he could have written a few lines of that particular essay, but he wrote nothing. It means there was no ink in the pen. Therefore, the correct use of the word over here is little. Now, if I say a little knowledge is a dangerous thing, knowledge is a dangerous thing. Now, this sentence is absolutely correct because this is proved a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. That if we have knowledge and if we have not the sufficient knowledge but only some knowledge of something, that can definitely make us in harmful situation. So a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. If we do not have any knowledge about something, it will not affect at all. It will not affect at all because there will be no work of that particular knowledge for us. So a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. This is a proverb as well. Now let us move further. You can write your application. There is still little ink. Now, because there is still little ink, it means a little ink is there. Only then you can write your application. So little is nothing but a little is some. So here the correct word is a little, not little. Rashi drank little or a little water that was in this urn. So it is incorrect because Rashi drank the little water that was in the urn. It means the little water, how much the water or however, whatsoever the quantity of water was there in the urn, Rashi drank all of it. So the little is suitable phrase over here. Now let us move further. We have words few, few and the few. Again, few refers to something which is negligible or it is a negative word that is equal to nothing, or you can say negligible. A few means some and the few means sufficient or enough. So this is just like we use little, a little and the little. Now let us learn this with an example. Suppose I have 10 rupees with me. So I have 10 rupees with me and I went to a book stall. The book cost 1000 rupees and I only have 10 rupees. Will it work? No. The bookkeeper or the shopkeeper will not allow me to take the book with me. He will not, of course, give the book me on loan. He will not say that, okay, the remaining amount you will give me further. No, he will not show me the book even. Obviously, he will show the book, but he will not give me the book to take home. Just because 1000 and rupees 10, so rupees 10 is just negligible in front of 1000 rupees amount. Now, I went to another shop where I found the notes and those notes were 15 rupees, were of 15 rupees. Now, I have 10 rupees and those notes were of 15 rupees. Yeah, it is now positive thing because of course, I can show the 10 rupees note to him and I can ask him to give me those notes and I'll pay for the remaining amount later on. So it will work. So this 10 rupees actually are something before this 15 rupees amount, but it was nothing before that 1000 rupees now amount. So 10 rupees is something. It values positively, whereas in this case it valued negatively. Even I don't want to show him the note that I have only this much. So here I can show him that yes, of course I have 10 rupees and I'll pay you 5 rupees afterwards. So maybe possible he will give me the discount. So here 10 rupees will work. Now even okay, because I only have 10 rupees, so I moved on and went to the another shop of the newspaper, and there I went for some newspaper, an English newspaper that cost me rupees 10. Now because it was rupees 10, yes, proudly now I will say yes, of course I have 10 rupees, take it and give me the newspaper, because this 10 rupees is enough amount for that particular newspaper. So this is enough and sufficient over there. So here it is the few, whereas in case of this notes it was a few And in case of this book of rupees 1000, it is few. So the value of these 10 rupees is different in front of other amounts or other shops or various shops. Now let us see some examples. I hope you understood this. So few means negligible, a few means some, and a few means enough. There are few boys in the class. So there are few boys, it means no boys at all. There are a few good books in the library. It means there are some books in the library which are good or that are good. Now one more thing is there. Whenever we use few or little, so whenever we need to add a relative pronoun, we add that, not which. So with few, a few, and the few, or a little, or the little, we always use that, not which. There are a few boys in the class. A few boys means some boys. Now, I have read the few books of your library. The few books, it means whatever the number of books was there in the library. The teacher taught the few boys that had come. It means the teacher taught the few boys. It means howsoever the boys had come, whatsoever the number of boys had come, he taught them all. Now let us move to the next one. Now we have words much and many. I hope you got the difference between few and little. Also the difference among few, a few, and the few, and little, a little, and the little. Now we'll learn the difference between much and many. Again, this is very, very simple. Much is used before uncountable noun and many is used before countable nouns. That's it. So many is used before countable nouns, whereas much is used before uncountable nouns. There is many milk in the vessel. Now milk is uncountable noun, so we cannot use many. Instead, we should use much. So this is incorrect. The above sentence is incorrect, and the lower one is correct or rectified. There are much books. Now books are countable nouns. Therefore, much should be replaced with many. So there are many books in the office. Now let us move. Here we have word elder and older. So whenever we have word elder and older, now let us discuss these words. Elder refers to a person who is bigger to us, or who is our senior, or who is just beyond us in terms of age. And older means when something gets old, because older is a degree of adjective and elder is a comparative word. With elder we use to, with older we use then, because older is basically a comparative degree of old. So old, then older, and its superlative degree is oldest. Whereas when we use the word elder, elder is basically used with your siblings, with your persons, and elder refers to the family members, and elder is used with family members. Elder is just a comparative word. It is not a degree because it does not have any positive degree of adjective. Now, Ritu is elder than Priya. Now, whenever we use elder, we use to with it, not then. So, Ritu is elder to Priya. Ramesh is older to Raju. Now, again, this older to. With older, we cannot use to. It should be older than Raju. Or you can also write Ramesh is elder to Raju. Older will be incorrect over here. So, elder to Raju. Because in case of person, we use elder. One more thing is there. Yes, we can of course use older as well, because in case of old age, we can use older as well. Now, one more thing is there. In case of animals, we use older, not elder. For example, that dog is older than this one. So, older than. So, in case of animals, we do not use elder. Instead, we use older. Now, let us see some more examples. This temple is older to that temple. Now, whenever we are talking about a non-living thing, whenever we are talking about a building, we use older and not elder. So, the temple is older than that temple. This is the eldest temple in this village. So, this is incorrect. It should be replaced with oldest. So, in case of Non-living things, in case of animals, we do not use elder. Instead, we use older or oldest, because it is just getting old with time. So when something gets older with time, we use older, not elder. Elder refers to when someone is bigger to us. For example, my elder sister, if I say my elder sister, suppose there are two people, one is A and another is B. A is 4 years old, whereas B is 6 years old. So we can say B is elder to A, because B is bigger than A. So in case of persons, basically we use elder. In animals and buildings, in non-living things, we use older, not elder. Now let us move further. His oldest daughter lives in America. Now, because suppose he has 3 daughters, and eldest refers to the biggest one, or the one whose age is highest. So his eldest daughter lives in America. For living person, for living things, we do not use oldest. Instead, we use eldest, because oldest refers to when something is very old. For example, the oldest lady. So let us see some more examples. Here we have word further and farther. So further refers to something extra. For example, extra information. So further information. Farther refers to distance, when some distance is extra. So when something is at a far place, so that is known as farther. For example, he should not be given further punishment. So the sentence is correct. Further punishment, you can say extra punishment. I have nothing to say further. The sentence is again correct. It means I have nothing to say. I have no other word to speak out after this. Now this is just extant. So further refers to something extra. Chhapra is farther from Patna than Hazipur is. Now, because it is showing the distance between Chhapra and Patna and Hazipur, so here we can use farther, not further. His house is farther than mine. Farther than mine means it is at a particular distance from mine. So farther than mine is correct. Nothing can be farther from the truth. So the sentence is again correct. Now we have another words like fewer and less. Now simple, fewer is used with countable nouns, lesser is used with uncountable nouns. No fewer than 50 passengers were killed in the train accident, because it is written 50 passengers. Therefore we used fewer, because passengers are countable. No fewer than 10 boys were present in the class. Again, no fewer than 10 boys. So 10 boys are again countable. Therefore we have used fewer. Gaurav sold no fewer than 5 tons of coal yesterday. This is incorrect, because tons of coal is uncountable. It can be measured, it cannot be counted. Therefore, fewer is incorrect. It should be no less than 5 tons of coal yesterday. So this will be the correct sentence. Now let us move to the next one. Not fewer than 2 kilograms of rice was there in the pot. Again, 2 kilograms of rice is countable and is not countable. It is uncountable, and if it is uncountable, we use less, not fewer. So fewer is incorrect. It should be not less than 2 kilograms of rice was there in the pot. So this will be the correct sentence. Now let us move to the next one. Now we have the word nearest and next. Now next refers to something which is just after us, and nearest, which is something which is at a particular distance from us, or at the closest distance from us. Now, the pilot decided to do emergency landing on the nearest airport, because maybe there is some fault in the plane, or there is something which is dangerous. So the pilot decided to do emergency landing, and of course he will do the emergency landing on the nearest airport he has. So nearest airport, nearest means the closest to the distance of that particular thing. Now, Kalpana's house is next to mine. It means the house of Kalpana is just next to mine, or it is just like in neighbor. So, next to mine, the next one, or the house which is just in the neighbor of my house. So, that is next. The second one, you can say. Now, let us move to the next one. Now, we have important words like later and later. So, later, later refers to it is used for time, whereas later is used for position. Now, what is the difference between these two words? Let us discuss. Later refers to when something is afterwards, or some action takes place afterwards. For example, if I say that I'll call you later, it means I'll call you after some time. So later means beyond time, or you can say afterwards, after some time. Whereas later refers to second of the two. Now, whenever we have two options only, now later can be used in case of two things or two persons only. If they are more than that, we cannot use later, first of all. Now, whenever we have two options or two things and we are talking about later one refers to, now this one is first and this one is second. So, whenever we say later, it means we are talking about the second one. Now, second of the two. So, later, you can define it like second of the two. Now, this is very strict. That is, it should be second of the two. There can be only two things, and we are talking about later. It means we are talking about the second of the two. And former refers to the previous of the. Former can be used for more than two as well. Now, Arav and Ajay are brothers, but the former is more intelligent than the later. It means we are talking about the former. Former means Arav, and later is Ajay, but it is later, not later. So word later is incorrect over here. It should be replaced with later, later, because we are talking about the second one. So whenever we are talking about Arav and Ajay, and we are talking about the second one, that is Ajay. So Ajay, but the former is more intelligent than the later. It means Arav is more intelligent than Ajay. So Arav and Ajay are brothers, but the former is more intelligent than the later. So your later should be replaced with later. Now, if I say that I will teach you this topic, now what will come in this blank? Is it later or later? Of course, it is later, later. That means I will teach you this topic afterwards. Now let us move further. Akhil came later than Anand. Now this is the time situation that Akhil came after Anand. So this later should be replaced with later, which refers to after. It means first Anand came and after that Akhil came. Sonu reached the institute later than Govind. Again, later should be replaced with later than Govind, because first Govind came and then Sonu reached. Now let us move to the next one. Latest and last. Now latest means the newest or the fresh, whereas last means the end. Navneet was the last, it is the latest boy to leave the class. So this is incorrect. It should be replaced with last, because he was the last person to enter. I want the last edition of the book. So it is not last. It should be latest edition. It means the fresh, the newest edition. So there is a difference between last and latest. Latest refers to something which is new, which is fresh, and last refers to when something is at the end. So this is the difference between latest and last. For example, whenever we see some movie, so it should be a latest movie, that which is the latest movie, or which was the last movie that you saw or that you have seen. So that is another thing. But if I say which is the latest movie, which is the latest news, he asked me the latest news. So latest is used for something which is just fresh, which is something newer. So in case of that new thing, we use latest, and something which is at the end part, we use last. Of course, if there are three persons and we are talking about the second one or the third one, we cannot use the word later. Instead, we can use last. For example, among Ravina, Reena, and Veena, the letter one is a player. That will be incorrect. It should be the last one is a player when we are referring to the third person over there, because letter can be used only in case of two people. Now, the spelling of letter is L-A-T-T-E-R, whereas we have one more word that is L-E-T-T-E-R, which is a noun, and it can be a written format or the written document, like you write letter to your friend, and which can be formal or informal as well. But a letter is a part of the alphabet as well. For example, A, B, C, D, these are letters. So there is a difference between letter and L-A-T-T-E-R letter and L-E-T-T-E-R letter as well. L-A-T-T-E-R letter is an adjective, whereas L-E-T-T-E-R letter is something else, which is a noun, of course. So there are several words, several adjectives which have different uses. In the next session, we are going to discuss some fill in the blanks of these words and these usage of the words. I hope you understood each and every word. Thank you very much.